Duelists. What's up? It's your boys, James and Keegan. We've got some really exciting stuff to sort of discuss and react to today. I mean, some really fucking cool shit. James, what have we got pulled up here? What am I looking at?
This is a press release that, as I understand, was sent to official, Yu-Gi-Oh! OTS stores over the past week. It's a banger because the key point of interest to us, I mean, it details plenty of other formats and organized play information, but there's this neat Time Wizard format that has a lot of relevance to anyone that plays retro formats such as Edison.
Yes, this Time Wizard thing is fucking sick. This is insane. You know what this means, James? This means we're gonna get Konami supported retro formats before Dueling Book gives us a fucking Edison Ladder.
Yeah, that is maybe a travesty. But
That's actually
but
insane.
I mean, the key takeaways, I think, and I mean, if you just read it over quickly, it's kind of as much information as anyone knows. So there's still a few things we're in the dark on, but basically, there's now a system in place for OTS stores to have, local tournaments that are run in Edison format or Go format or any other specific time period of Yu-Gi-Oh that those players at that local prefer. You can
Not
get OTS packs for it. You can get it ranked. It's all there.
not just locals, but even potentially regionals or YCS level events of old formats. That's fucking insane. Imagine going to Nats, being a player who played nothing but just grinded old format stuff, and went to let's say you went to a Hat format regional, a Go format regional, an Edison, couple Edison locals, and all of a sudden you have your
Yeah.
Nats invite. That's fucking awesome. And also
Yeah,
getting the tournament packs from these
for
events.
sure,
Is
and
so
that's
sick.
money, and almost the other way around too. It's like for someone like myself who really does not play much current Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, even in the past month or so, as more IRL tournaments have been announced, these YCSs in California and Vegas and such, it was the idea that would I like to go? Maybe I could go. And to be completely honest, I had not very much interest as I'm not a current Yu-Gi-Oh player. But if there's a number of side events run in some of these retro formats and with some decent prize support, that could totally be a selling point for me or just a bunch of players like me.
Another reason, I completely agree with that. Another reason I think this is such a five-head move from Konami is just getting the newer cards in front of old format players' face. Because if you're going, let's say you're going to a tournament, right? You're traveling to a tournament, a Go format tournament, and you get a booster pack, a tournament booster pack, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna open my OTS pack, I'm gonna open my whatever. Let's say you open the bonkers ultimate rare or whatever, and you're like, oh, what's this? All of a sudden, you're looking at and you're reading a card that maybe you would have never looked at, and your interest all of a sudden is there. So I think it's a really, really smart decision from Konami, and for a lot of reasons, not just because I'm happy about it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it totally is like a gateway drug. And I mean, the fact that, I mean, I don't know the numbers wise or whatever, but compared to a lot of other kind of sub communities or something, it's like the GOAT format or Edison format have experienced a lot of growth, especially within the past 2 years, to the point that they and we are having large stream tournaments. And so I think that even though these are kind of drops in the bucket compared to probably the overall sales of real Yu-Gi-Oh or tournament entrants, you still got to take, if you're Konami and you're smart, you still got to take notice of these small dedicated communities that are putting on their own tournaments, making their own prize pools, running their own streams. I mean, that's a dedicated group of people that you want to find a way to include in your system.
Absolutely. And another reason that I'm so excited about this is them just showing the fact that they're willing to support this in paper. They're willing to say okay, you know what, you guys are doing some cool shit. It's them giving us recognizing us as players, which is
Exactly.
really, really fucking cool. It also shows me that they might be willing to support this digitally in their new Master Duel platform and stuff.
Yes.
So
that is huge for me. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
And as far as for streamers go, as far as for content goes, just as someone who makes content, from me to you and from us to the viewers, this would be insane. Imagine Edison format
Bro,
on like
yeah, that was like my first thought because
that would be crazy.
and I think within the first day, a lot of people were getting caught up in kind of the details of how exactly will this function and what erratas would be used on the cards and all those things are still, don't get me wrong, like open-ended questions that I'm sure, you know, fingers crossed, Konami will clarify in the coming months or before this is rolled out. But immediately the next thought was my mind went to Master Duel, and just like we've kind of been saying, you know, memeing the dueling book people, like how hard is it to just add like a separate drop down menu for Edison format? Like I kind of feel like if you're already in the process of programming like this like pretty big budget game, you know, that's gonna sell a shitload of copies no matter what you do, like how hard is it to just add a little like time wizard pool for like the top 5 most popular retro formats or something? I don't know.
Or even every retro format. Like
Sure,
I could see them going all the way and just doing that. Like that would be awesome. That'd be really, really cool for them. Maybe not divide their player base that much, but
right.
I mean, shit, man. The possibilities of this opening up, like the fact that Konami's eyes are even on this, that their brains have even considered this at all, is such a big deal. And it's honestly really, really cool. If you guys in the comment section, like if there's something we're not even thinking about that would be like insanely based, I mean, let us know. Let us know if there's something that like we're missing here, because I'm sure there's a lot
like
of
what part of this
stuff.
are you most excited about for sure? And the other thing in what you just said I hadn't even really considered too is like even newer players or even players that played in some of these retro formats and maybe they don't play anymore, whatever, but just the fact that this is getting some sort of official announcement. I mean, there are a lot of people that aren't as plugged into the YouTube sphere, into the Discord channels, into all that. Maybe they're just a little older, they're just not that kind of like tech savvy person. But just for them to see this and be like, oh, I didn't even know there were other people that played these old formats like in this kind of organized way. And so maybe that will perk some people's interest who didn't even really know this was a thing.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, it's kind of crazy because we see kind of such a small part of the whole picture. You and I do. Like we see, the people active on Discord, and we see the people who are like active on YouTube, watching the videos, replying to the videos, commenting. We see you guys. But what we don't see is that there's just a large number of people who play these formats who just don't even know this shit exists. I remember pretty recently I went to a local and there was like 20 or something people there playing GOAT format, and all of them were using Exarian Universe, which is, if you guys play GOAT format like competitively now, you know that people don't play with that card. And out of the like 20 or so people who were there, none of them even knew that there was communities online that played GOAT format. So there's definitely like pockets of people who aren't, like you said, tapped into the Discord, aren't tapped into the YouTube stuff, don't really know what's legal and what's not legal about older formats or what's considered like whatever. So it should be interesting. It should be interesting to see how much this grows old formats in general. I'm sure newer people, like we've had players on the channel like Moxies who are primarily current format players, come back and play the older formats, and this is just a huge incentive for new format people to play old format and vice versa. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it also, like, say what you will, but there has been a bit of an us versus them, like retro players versus current players, and if this can just make, like, that's never really how I particularly felt, but I know that that's a thing, and if this can be a step towards just, everyone is basically under one roof, if everyone is playing at the same tournament, even if they're entering different kind of side events or whatever, like, I think that just kind of puts those controversies or whatever to rest a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I know we've played into this, with our GOAT versus Edison video, like as a meme, for the clickbait. But to be honest, like there's a lot to be learned. If you play different formats, there's a lot you can apply to every format from different formats. Totally. Every format gives you a different perspective on the game. It's still the same game, and you can learn a lot just from different approaches, in different time periods. So yeah.
And let that be a lesson to you current players. If you're watching this, this now is your time. If Konami's finally supporting it, to go back and try these old formats, and vice versa. If you're the retro player who ends up going to these tournaments because of this new Time Wizard thing, then yeah, you'll get a chance to have access to new cards too, and see people playing that, and maybe be interested in that.
Yeah.
So I think it creates a great environment for everybody.
Just a quick touch thing before we wrap up this video. I do want to talk about the other stuff they've announced here. They've announced a popper format, all common cards. That sounds pretty exciting. Heart of the Underdog. I haven't really fully read through this. Have you read through the Heart of the Underdog stuff, James?
I just, I tunnel vision on the time.
Yeah, I saw time was around.
The Deckmaster one, I've heard some people talking about this, and that has its own kind of rule set. And I think with all these, the exact mechanics of how these are going to work are still a little TBD. I mean, the Time Wizard one in some ways is the most straightforward because it's like, that's just playing the way we played in Nationals 05 or Edison 2010. Exactly. The other ones, I think the mechanics of the Deckmaster is sort of TBD.
Common Charity
definitely
sounds
interesting
hype.
Stuff.
A lot of this stuff sounds hype. I mean, I would come fuck some of this shit up.
And it kind of opens the gate. Like, Konami traditionally has never really been one at all acknowledging alternative formats, and just with this small offering, you could totally imagine, say, some players come up with a really good draft format or cube or whatever, and like it does seem like kind of the thing that now there's at least an avenue to rally around, where maybe if that became popular enough, it could become an official tournament structure.
Yeah, totally. All this stuff is dope. Big shout out to Konami for even checking this stuff out. If anyone from Konami's watching this video, thanks for considering this. Yeah, hit us up. We'd love to do like, any sort of product coverage, any sort of plug.
Free product, any kind of branded content.
That's another thing. Oh, that's another thing too. They could start releasing like fucking like products, like GOAT format, like decks or whatever, like structure decks.
Someone mentioned there already seemed to be some kind of interest because they're like, I think it was like they're reprinting Gatling Dragon, which is like a card that is not relevant as far as I understand, but is clearly meant to appease a little bit Go format players. The fact that again, there's a little bit more open.
Definitely paying attention to like stuff like that. I mean, of course, I would love to see some stuff like Super Nimble Mega Hamster. I think that also recently got a reprint, didn't I? I could be mistaken, but yeah, I mean, like just cards that are really popular in these formats. I mean, it's great to see more in circulation. More availability is a great thing. And also it'd be cool if they were to reprint stuff with the old text, especially if they decide to go with like these tournaments being like errata. I know for speed duels, they have a watermark. They could maybe even have like a watermarked version of the old errata cards for April 2005 or whatever. Like that'd be fucking sweet.
That'd be crazy.
I'd be on board.
I would love to get to that level of
yeah,
kind of synced up. But yeah, I mean, it's a super exciting announcement, and it's kind of like only up from here. I feel just kind of getting the foot in the door. So I'm really excited to whether this means more Edison IRL tournaments, which we've already seen popping up. I know there was actually a big one in Arizona a week or two ago, and there's ones in Montreal we've covered. So hoping there can be more of those now that there maybe is a little more incentive for players to do it.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, make sure and like and subscribe, guys. More gameplay videos coming soon. Happy holidays, happy new year. Peace out.